Welcome. For almost 100 years, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People has been the go-to book on human relations. So we're kicking off a new series breaking it all down, piece by piece. Today, we're starting with the absolute foundation, the 3 fundamental techniques for handling people. Let's dive in.
You know, at its heart, Carnegie's work taps into something we all want, right? To be better, to connect with people more easily, and to really unlock our full potential when we're dealing with others.
So let me ask you a simple question. Are you? I mean, really think about it. In your daily interactions, do you feel like you're firing on all cylinders? Or do you get the sense that there's, room for improvement in how you connect with the people around you? Carnegie opens with this really powerful idea from Professor William James. And what he's saying is, this isn't about learning some new trick. It's about waking up the powers you already have, but that, most of us just don't use. And that's the core promise of all this. This isn't just some abstract philosophy. The goal here is totally practical, to help you find those hidden assets inside yourself and actually put them to work in your life. So, let's get into the first of these fundamental tools. So, this brings us to the very first principle, the absolute starting point for changing how you deal with people. And Carnegie frames this as something you have to stop doing. The first rule is dead simple. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Now, why is that? Well, Carnegie says criticism is basically useless because it doesn't create any lasting change. All it does is put the other person on the defensive. It makes them justify themselves and, worse of all, it builds up resentment. Not exactly a recipe for success, right?
Okay, so we've got the rule. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Carnegie gives us a perfect example of an employer who had to learn this lesson the hard way.
This slide lays it out perfectly. The employer's old method, just constant criticism, didn't make his team more productive. It made them hostile. He literally had 314 people trying to avoid him. The second he decided to stop criticizing, he laid the groundwork for a huge change. But just stopping the negative, that wasn't quite enough. He had to add something positive. And that leads us right into the second principle, which builds directly on the first. It's the positive action that fills the space you create when you stop criticizing. It's really the other side of the same coin. The second rule is to give honest and sincere appreciation. And Carnegie really hammers home those two words, honest and sincere. This is not about cheap, phony flattery. It's about actually looking for the good in other people and pointing it out. It taps into one of the deepest needs we have as human beings, the desire to feel appreciated.
Okay, so let's go back to our business owner. He's already stopped criticizing. Now let's see what happens when he starts applying this second principle.
And boom, there's the full transformation. It wasn't just getting rid of the negativity. It was adding the positive appreciation that completely turned things around. Suddenly, his company was filled with loyalty and enthusiasm. And that detail about the janitor calling him by his first name, that says it all. The entire culture of the place had changed from the ground up.
Okay, that brings us to the third and final foundational technique. We've learned what to stop doing, criticizing. We've learned what to start doing, appreciating. Now we learn how to actually motivate other people to take action. So here's the rule. Arouse in the other person an eager want. What does that mean? It means the only way to get anybody to do anything is to make them want to do it. And to do that, you have to stop thinking about what you want and start seeing the world from their point of view.
Carnegie uses this quote from Harry Overstreet to really drive the point home. This isn't just some small tip. This is a fundamental fork in the road between success and failure when you're dealing with people.
And to make this concept super simple, Carnegie uses a perfect analogy that everyone gets. It's all about fishing.
This slide just nails it with pure common sense. Carnegie says, hey, personally, I'm a big fan of strawberries and cream. But when I go fishing, do I put strawberries and cream on the hook? No way. Why? Because that's what I want, not what the fish wants. I bait the hook with a worm. The lesson is so clear. When you're trying to influence people, you always have to bait the hook to suit their appetite, not your own. So there you have it, 3 core ideas that make up the foundation for everything else we're going to cover in this series. Think of this as your essential starter toolkit for better human relations. Let's run through them one last time, straight from the book. Number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Number 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. And number 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. Everything else we discuss is going to be built right on top of this foundation. Mastering these things takes daily practice.
They're simple to understand, but they can be a real challenge to apply consistently. So as you go about your day, I'll leave you with this question. Which one of these foundational tools are you going to consciously put into practice first?